In 1764, an Austrian military cartographer named Joseph von Riley published an astonishingly detailed map of Eurasia, but it concealed something even more remarkable. On that map, alongside familiar cities, rivers, and mountain ranges, a vast territory named Great Tartary appeared, stretching immensely from the Caspian Sea all the way to the Pacific Ocean. And this was no isolated incident. For over 2 centuries, from ancient maps in Paris, London, and Moscow to the earliest American atlases, all consistently depicted a mysterious supernation called Tartaria. Yet, inexplicably, by the mid-19th century, this name had completely vanished from all academic texts, encyclopedias, and history books, as if it had never existed. The complete disappearance of such a vast geopolitical entity from mainstream historical narratives should have been a monumental, unignorable event. Instead, Tartaria quietly slipped into oblivion, leaving no trace. Today, its traces are mere scattered fragments, on the yellowed pages of forgotten atlases, carved into crumbling stone facades, or hidden deep within the archives of royal libraries. No mainstream historian mentions it, no university teaches about its existence, as if it were never a part of history. So the real question isn't whether Tartaria existed, but why such a civilization was so mysteriously and completely erased from the annals of history. Tartaria's supposed territory was immense, stretching nearly 4,000 miles across lands we now know as Russia, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and parts of China. Remarkably, some 18th century maps even labeled it as independent Tartary, implying clear autonomy, separate from the rule of the Russian Empire. Some cities marked as Tartarian capitals bore peculiar names, entirely absent from any known Slavic, Turkic, or Chinese languages. These names echo like ghosts from the past, hinting at a forgotten cultural identity and an untold history. Architectural anomalies further deepen the mystery. Scattered across Eastern Europe and Central Asia are incredibly massive structures, colossal stone halls, star-shaped fortresses, and onion-domed towers entirely distinct from any neighboring cultures. These structures were built using techniques that seemingly far surpassed and didn't align with the region's official timeline of development. Many of these structures show signs of astonishingly advanced stonework, evidenced by perfect symmetry and precise geometric alignment with celestial bodies. Some researchers argue that these buildings were not constructed by the modern nations now occupying those lands, but rather they are remnants of a lost civilization, one that possessed profound knowledge of acoustics, resonance, and geometry far beyond their era. The erasure of Tartaria from historical narratives is not without concrete evidence. By the mid-19th century, as the Russian Empire consolidated its control over Central Asia, newly published maps began to completely omit the term Tartaria. Even textbooks published in Moscow and St. Petersburg in the 1860s made no mention of Tartaria, further reinforcing the hypothesis of a deliberate erasure. What if a great civilization was erased from history? In 1875, the Royal Geographical Society officially declared Tartaria to be merely a mythical name, despite its clear presence in countless prior documents. Maps that once identified this region as Tartary were systematically and deliberately republished, renamed, or even destroyed. Even in the United States, school atlases that once depicted Tartaria as a land bordering China and Russia suddenly removed the term entirely. Early photographs and stereoscopic records of Tartarian cities were quietly reclassified, disappearing from public view. Colossal stone structures, attributed to later empires, completely lacked any construction logs or design blueprints to prove their origins. A vast trove of architectural drawings from the 17th and 18th centuries was sealed away, secretly stored in the vaults of national libraries. Many believe this disappearance was not accidental, but a deliberate act to completely erase an inconvenient historical narrative, far beyond a mere geopolitical shift. If Tartaria was indeed a real civilization, not just a cartographic error, its implications would be profoundly shocking. This reveals that a highly advanced civilization once dominated much of the Eurasian continent, possibly possessing technological and cultural prowess comparable to, or even surpassing, contemporary nations. The erasure of this civilization could be the largest historical cover-up in the modern era. And if such a powerful civilization was truly wiped from human memory, the next question is even more haunting. What force possessed the power to accomplish that, and what were their motives? The mystery of ancient ruins hidden beneath Fuxian Lake. In 2001, while exploring the bottom of Fuxian Lake in Yunnan Province, China, a team of divers from the Chinese Institute of Underwater Exploration stumbled upon something extraordinary, defying all explanation. More than 100 feet deep, hidden beneath thick freshwater silt, they were astonished to find massive stone structures arranged in an intricate grid pattern. Staircases, stone platforms, and sturdy walls stretched for hundreds of feet. What they discovered bore no resemblance to a natural geological formation. Instead, it looked exactly like an ancient city submerged for millennia, completely forgotten in all historical records. Spanning an area of over 1.2 square miles, these underwater relics display undeniable evidence of deliberate design. A central structure nearly 40 feet tall, with a flat top and perfectly symmetrical sloping sides, evokes the image of an ancient step pyramid. The stone blocks used were up to 15 feet long and weighed tons each, stacked tightly together without the need for mortar. Divers reported intricate carvings on some of the stone slabs, including entirely unfamiliar symbols, never before documented in any Chinese archaeological records. Mysterious drill marks on the stones reveal sophisticated astronomical alignments, while other carvings are purely decorative, hinting at a profound cultural or ritualistic role. While carbon dating cannot be applied directly to stone, sediment analysis has unveiled a startling truth. The submersion event occurred over 1,800 years ago, long before the region saw any advanced urban development. Astonishingly, the architectural style and scale found here bear no resemblance to any known structures from historical Chinese dynasties. In fact, these ruins appear to predate even the Dian Kingdom, a Bronze Age civilization that flourished near the lake but left no records of constructing such monumental works. The official response from the authorities was swift, yet shrouded in mystery and secrecy. Initially, state media reported on the discovery with cautious excitement, even dubbing it China's Atlantis, but soon after, news coverage quickly faded into silence. Access to the site was severely restricted, ostensibly for ecological protection, though many suspected the true motive. Notably, foreign researchers were flatly denied diving permits. A significant documentary produced by Yunnan Provincial Television, though completed, was never broadcast outside the region. When questioned for updates, the Institute for Underwater Exploration refused to provide any comments, further deepening the mystery. The rare researchers who were granted access to the site were subsequently and inexplicably reassigned to entirely unrelated geological projects. An independent academic paper, which suggested the ruins were over 5,000 years old, potentially predating the Egyptian pyramids, was quietly removed from all public access. Since then, not a single photograph of these enigmatic carvings has been released to the public, making information incredibly scarce. The existence of these structures is not denied, but their true nature is officially labeled undetermined, a designation laden with unspoken implications. What makes Fuxian Lake particularly captivating and mysterious is the complete absence of historical accounts, myths, or legends. No Chinese myth, legend, or historical record has ever mentioned the existence of a city at this location, not even as a rumor. The Han Dynasty, which ruled this region around the time the lake is believed to have submerged, kept incredibly comprehensive and detailed chronicles of settlements and infrastructure. Yet, in all those meticulous records, there is no mention whatsoever of a lakeside metropolis, let alone one of such astonishing scale and architectural precision. This immediately opens up unsettling and challenging possibilities for the entire known history of the region. Could this mysterious city belong to a civilization entirely unrecorded in any historical annals? A haunting question arises. Was it intentionally erased from local records? Or a more chilling possibility, was it never meant to be revealed in the first place? For decades, ever since its initial discovery, satellite images of Fuxian Lake have consistently revealed faint geometric outlines hidden deep beneath its surface, hinting at an unsolved mystery. Yet, a current policy strictly prohibits any form of excavation or disturbance, keeping this secret firmly at the bottom of the lake. For this reason, these ancient ruins remain undisturbed beneath the waters, perfectly preserved, untouched, and officially an unsolved enigma. If the mysterious structures at the bottom of Fuxian Lake truly are evidence of a lost civilization, then a grand chapter of East Asian history has been buried, not only by the erosion of time and sediment, but potentially by a deliberate act of concealment. Nan Madol, the forgotten city, hidden amidst the vast ocean. In 1928, French ethnographer Paul Hambrook embarked on an adventurous journey to the remote island of Ponape in Micronesia, intensely drawn by legends of an ancient city built directly on the sea, defying all natural laws. And what he witnessed there not only defied all logical reasoning, but completely shattered every known limit of human capability. Emerging from the shallow waters off the southeastern coast of Pohnpei, right before the eyes of the indigenous inhabitants, was an intricate labyrinth of countless islets, canals, and colossal monolithic ruins. A massive complex of stone architecture spanning nearly 1.5 square miles, built entirely on a coral reef, defying all understanding. This was Nan Madol, a legendary city erected in the heart of the sea. The strange thing is that, to this day, no one can explain how it was constructed from over 250 million pounds of colossal prismatic basalt columns, many weighing over 10 tons and reaching 15 feet in length, an extraordinary architectural feat. This urban structure comprises 92 unique artificial islands, all intricately connected by a network of narrow canals, forming a complex architectural whole. These massive basalt blocks were skillfully stacked, much like the logs in a game of Lincoln Logs, to construct majestic temples, enigmatic tombs, and towering city walls, exceeding 25 feet in height. What's astonishing is that on this very island, there are no quarries capable of supplying such unique material, making their origin a profound mystery. What puzzles scientists even more is that the nearest source of these colossal hexagonal basalt columns is over 25 miles away, requiring passage through dense jungles and steep, almost inaccessible, volcanic terrain. At that time, there were no roads, no carts, and no draft animals. Even more astonishing, oral traditions offer absolutely no clues as to how these enormous stones were transported here. Local inhabitants still recount strange tales of flying stones, said to have miraculously floated into place under the guidance of powerful sorcerers from a distant land, wielding ancient magic. While these mystical accounts are often outright dismissed by mainstream archaeologists, it's noteworthy that to this day, no truly satisfactory mechanical or scientific explanation has been offered to shed light on this mystery. Modern engineers, after thoroughly surveying the site, have all conceded that even with today's most advanced technology and equipment, recreating Nan Madol on a coral reef would be an immense logistical challenge, almost impossible, not to mention the deadly hazards of the work. All we know about the great architects who created Nan Madol comes from ancient legends. They were the Sodelur dynasty, a mysterious lineage, lost deep in the mists of history. An enigmatic civilization mysteriously appeared around the 12th century, only to vanish without a trace 4 centuries later in the 16th. Their dominion was described as absolute, possessing an unprecedented and alien mystique. With skin noticeably lighter than the indigenous people, their arrival sparked a profound revolution in the island's religious beliefs and political power structures. Yet, remarkably, no writing, artifacts, or human remains have ever been definitively linked to the Sodelur era. The deeper reaches of the site, submerged beneath the sea by rising waters, remain an untouched mystery, guarded by treacherous currents and ancient taboos whispered by the indigenous people. Every attempt to conduct in-depth archaeological surveys here has been met with countless formidable obstacles. Technical failures, ferocious storms, and sudden outbreaks of disease have relentlessly thwarted numerous expeditions. Locals whisper warnings that the city is cursed. They absolutely refuse to venture near it once darkness descends. Even the name Nan Madol, meaning spaces in between, evokes a haunting mystery, as if the city exists on a blurred boundary between realms. Furthermore, there's even evidence suggesting the deliberate concealment and obstruction of information. In the 1970s, research teams from Japan and the US attempted collaborative excavations in deeper areas of the site, only for their permits to be abruptly revoked without clear explanation. UNESCO recognizes Nan Madol as a World Heritage in danger, yet official documents regarding its mysterious origins remain unresolved, caught in a bureaucratic quagmire. Satellite imagery reveals symmetrical structures extending beneath the sea, suggesting that what we see today might be just a fraction of a much larger, colossal metropolis. If Nan Madol is truly the remnant of a lost civilization, its existence would completely reshape our understanding of oceanic history, a region not typically known for massive megalithic structures. This would prove that a superior civilization once traversed the oceans to this remote corner of the Pacific and constructed a metropolis that no modern island nation could ever hope to replicate. And if such a civilization built a city in the heart of the ocean only to vanish without a trace, the profound question arises, what other mysteries did they leave behind? So, where did the legendary kingdom of Ubar truly vanish? In 1992, a NASA satellite equipped with advanced ground-penetrating radar detected strange linear structures hidden beneath the dense sands of Oman's Rub al Khali Desert, the largest contiguous sand desert on the planet. These structures, almost invisible to the naked eye, resembled ancient trade routes radiating from a single central point, a location long believed to be the very site of the legendary city of Ubar. In just a few short months, an archaeological expedition led by Nicholas Clapp set foot in this mysterious region. What they were about to uncover would shake every definition of myth and history. For generations, local Bedouin tribes had whispered tales of Iram, the city of pillars, a magnificent yet sinful metropolis mentioned in the Quran, ultimately swallowed by divine wrath. However, 19th century Western explorers dismissed the story as mere folklore, a desert mirage passed down through generations. But then, hidden beneath the shifting sands, the archaeological team unearthed crumbling walls, ancient well systems, and 8 colossal limestone pillars, each over 30 feet tall. Artifacts found included pottery shards, incense burners, and ancient inscriptions predating the Islamic Arab period. Clearly, this was no myth. This was a real city, buried underground for over a millennium. Archaeological analyses confirmed that Ubar flourished brilliantly from 28 BCE to 300 CE, serving as a vital trade hub on the incense road, connecting the Arabian Peninsula to the Mediterranean. In its heyday, Ubar was believed to have monopolized the region's frankincense trade, a rare tree resin once valued more than gold. The immense wealth accumulated by the city facilitated grand architectural feats, previously thought impossible in pre-Islamic Arabia. Yet a catastrophic disaster struck. The city seemed to have been swallowed whole, collapsing entirely into a massive limestone cavern deep beneath its foundations. A colossal geological sinkhole formed by centuries of depleting freshwater aquifers exhibited a strangely symmetrical shape, almost as if engineered with deliberate structure. This structure resembled a secret underground vault, or a meticulously designed space, with winding walls and clearly delineated chambers. To this day, no one can definitively say whether this was a purely natural phenomenon or a man-made subterranean construction. This groundbreaking discovery was quickly hailed as one of the greatest archaeological finds of the century. The media affectionately dubbed it the Atlantis of the Sands, but not long after, public attention began to wane. The excavation site was sealed off to international researchers, satellite imagery of the location became difficult to access, and notably, NASA data was reclassified, then removed from public databases. Initial reports from the excavation team were also suspiciously altered in subsequent academic publications. Nicholas Clapp himself confirmed that his subsequent research proposals were consistently rejected, often without any explanation. And then, a swift and mysterious oblivion enveloped everything. After completing their exhibition at prestigious museums, the precious artifacts from Ubar were ceremoniously received back by the Omani authorities. Remarkable arguments have been put forth, suggesting that this city predates even the ancient Sumerian civilization, or connections to mysterious, previously unknown cultures all were flatly dismissed as unsubstantiated pseudoscience. The colossal limestone sinkhole was quietly sealed off and declared a dangerous restricted zone, yet traces of the truth remain clearly visible. A fallen empire possessing an extremely sophisticated irrigation system, monumental architectural structures, and unique cultural practices unlike any recorded Arab civilization, once existed and then vanished into oblivion. The Quran's mention of a city unparalleled in any land may not merely be a metaphor or poetic exaggeration. Ubar, once reigning with supreme power, boundless wealth, and far-reaching influence, was then swallowed by the earth without a trace. If a civilization of such immense scale could vanish from the annals of history, forgotten by chronicles and buried by desert sands, how many other great civilizations still lie hidden deep beneath our feet, unknown to us? 2001. The mystery of the submerged city of Dwarka is unveiled. When India's National Institute of Technology conducted a sonar mapping survey along the Gulf of Khambat, off the country's western coast, their equipment unexpectedly registered a shocking, almost unbelievable discovery. Nearly 40 meters beneath the water, spanning an area of almost 13 square kilometers, lay symmetrically arranged stone structures, a grid-patterned street network, and distinct geometric architectural foundations, clear evidence of the remains of a city submerged deep beneath the sea. Divers dispatched to investigate successfully recovered intricately carved stone blocks, ancient fossilized wood, and pottery shards. What they discovered sent shockwaves through both the scientific community and religious circles in India. The remains of a city seemed to perfectly match the descriptions of Dwarka, the legendary capital of Lord Krishna, long considered merely a myth in the epic Mahabharata. Dwarka, mentioned in one of India's oldest epics, was a city built of glittering crystal and pure gold, ruled by Lord Krishna and protected by divine powers. Legend has it that after the death of Lord Krishna, the city was engulfed by the sea, sinking deep into the ocean during a terrifying deluge. For centuries, mainstream historians consistently dismissed Dwarka, viewing it as merely a symbolic city, a metaphor for humanity's moral decay. However, the sonar images obtained revealed a completely different story. Samples recovered from the site were carbon dated by the National Geophysical Research Institute, and the results were astounding. Dating back 7,500 to 9,000 years, this period predates the Harappan civilization, long considered India's first recognized urban culture, by over 4 millennia. What if the history of humanity as we know it is wrong? Because if its dating is confirmed, this mysterious underwater city could be evidence of the oldest civilization ever to exist on Earth. Its architectural structures, with their long, straight walls, precise right angles, and a massive stepped reservoir, attest to an incredibly sophisticated level of urban planning. Remarkably, some artifacts found bear symbols reminiscent of early writing, potentially predating even the renowned Indus Valley Civilization's writing system. Near what are believed to be residential ruins, scientists have discovered fossilized bones of both humans and animals. Yet, all this evidence remains hidden deep beneath thick layers of sediment, enveloped by millennia of ocean currents and the erosion of time. Despite its immense historical significance, the Indian government announced this discovery with baffling brevity. Media coverage was superficial and unclear. No large-scale excavations were authorized, and international academic involvement was subtly obstructed. The official stance remains reserved. The site is only acknowledged for its geological value, not yet officially recognized as the legendary city of Dwarka. Independent researchers have attempted to compare descriptions from the Mahabharata epic with sonar images, discovering astonishing correlations. However, their work only appeared in niche academic publications. The complete visual and video documentation from the initial dive team has never been fully released to the public. Some researchers who participated in the exploration later spoke out, claiming they were pressured to limit discussions about the potential implications of this discovery in public forums. Many have expressed deep disappointment over the lack of institutional support to further investigate a site that could potentially reshape the entire prehistoric history of South Asia. The silence surrounding the underwater city of Dwarka resonates more loudly than any official statement. This not only reflects academic caution, but perhaps also a reluctance to accept a historical reality that could overturn established chronologies, not just in India, but globally. If Dwarka truly exists and predates the civilizations we know by thousands of years, it compels us to thoroughly re-examine the entire history of humankind. And it raises an even more chilling question. How many other cities have been swallowed by the ocean, erased not just by water, but by the fear of the secrets they might reveal? The architects of Göbekli Tepe. In 1994, while wandering the arid hillsides of southeastern Turkey, Kurdish shepherds stumbled upon a stone slab protruding from the earth. What archaeologists later uncovered beneath that slab not only reshaped history, but completely obliterated the timeline of human civilization. Hidden deep beneath thousands of tons of sediment lies Göbekli Tepe, a massive megalithic complex with over 200 colossal stone pillars. Imagine an ancient structure with colossal stone blocks over 5 meters tall and weighing up to 20 tons, deliberately buried, hidden from the world for over 10 millennia. Yet its incredible sophistication reveals the handiwork of intellects far beyond the perceived limits of that era. These massive stone pillars are arranged in concentric circles, adorned with astonishingly precise animal reliefs, from scorpions, snakes, and lions to vultures. While these animals held deep symbolic meaning for prehistoric humans, these are by no means crude tribal carvings. The level of artistic and technical sophistication is astounding, even when compared to later Bronze Age constructions. Some stone surfaces are even polished to perfection, suggesting the use of tools unknown to us in the pre-pottery Neolithic period. And it is here that the true veil of mystery begins to lift. Radiocarbon dating analyses have placed the construction of this site at around 9600 BCE, nearly 7,000 years older than the Egyptian pyramids, and even predating agriculture, according to mainstream historical records. At that time, humans were believed to be nomadic hunter-gatherer tribes, with no permanent settlements, let alone the ability to construct such complex megalithic structures. Göbekli Tepe shouldn't exist, yet there it stands. To this day, the identity of its builders, as well as the true purpose of this structure, remains an enigma. No human remains have been found, no traces of daily life, and no tools were left behind. Only the colossal stones remain, along with their perplexing, silent symmetry. Some archaeologists hypothesize that Göbekli Tepe was an ancient religious center, possibly the first temple complex recorded in human history. Meanwhile, others believe it was a sophisticated astronomical observatory, with the alignment of some pillars perfectly matching constellations that graced the sky over 12,000 years ago. However, the most perplexing detail isn't its ancient age, but the fact that the entire complex was deliberately buried under layers of debris. These fragments were used to fill the surrounding areas, burying the entire site as if to conceal it from the world forever. This was not the result of the slow erosion of time or natural forces. It was a deliberate act. Clearly, whoever built Göbekli Tepe did not want this structure to be discovered. Despite the immense scale of the site, excavation efforts are being conducted with extreme caution, almost with a sense of restraint. What's astonishing is that to this day, less than 10% of the total area has been excavated. Citing heritage preservation, Turkish authorities have imposed restricted access to certain areas. High-resolution satellite imagery analysis from nearby hills has revealed numerous signs of subterranean stone structures, suggesting that Göbekli Tepe might be just a small part of a much larger prehistoric architectural network. This entire network remains buried, beyond the reach of any investigation. Göbekli Tepe is rarely mentioned in textbooks, and even academic research only refers to it cautiously. Its presence has shaken fundamental assumptions about human development. The notion that agriculture must precede architecture, that cities only form after agricultural development, and that civilization emerges gradually. However, the evidence here suggests that magnificent architectural structures were built very early, even before those elements appeared. If humans achieved such sophistication so early, what has been forgotten in the annals of history? When Göbekli Tepe was buried, what knowledge was lost forever? And who wanted this structure concealed from the very beginning? Perched on a high plateau, overlooking a forgotten trade route, the colossal stones at Baalbek, in what is now Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, represent one of the most inexplicable engineering mysteries in all of human history. The Roman temple complex of Baalbek itself is incredibly magnificent and astonishing. However, hidden deep beneath those classical columns and ruins is something far older and much more astounding. Colossal stones, some weighing over 200 tons, forming the solid foundation for the temple platform. Notably, a separate block known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman measures over 70 feet in length and weighs an estimated 1,150 tons. To put that into perspective, this mass is equivalent to the weight of more than 3 fully loaded Boeing 747 aircraft. These stones were carved, transported, and placed with astonishing precision, to the extent that even modern cranes would struggle to move them. Yet the official narrative claims the Romans built this temple in the 1st century AD, using these very stones as its foundation. However, Roman historical records contain no accounts of transporting or carving stones of similar magnitude. In fact, no ancient texts explain how these megaliths were transported to their current location. These stones appear as if they have always been there, silent, unmoving, and full of mystery. Geological studies have confirmed that these blocks were quarried from nearby sites. However, moving them across challenging terrain without the aid of modern machinery remains an unanswered question. While some researchers have hypothesized the use of roller systems or sledges, scientific calculations have demonstrated that friction alone would render such methods impossible. Some propose challenging theories about levitation capabilities, linking them to long-forgotten sound or vibrational technologies. Despite being vehemently rejected by the scientific community, these ideas persist due to the lack of a more convincing explanation. The architectural disparity is glaringly obvious. The colossal foundation, built from megalithic stones, bears no stylistic resemblance whatsoever to Roman architecture. The foundation stones are fitted together with astonishing precision. Some of these stones even show signs of erosion, a phenomenon entirely inconsistent with the age of the structures built above them. This suggests two distinct phases of construction, one by a civilization lost to time, and another that built its structures atop it. In other words, it's possible the Romans merely erected their temples on an already ancient foundation, the identity of its original architects remaining a mystery. However, all attempts to explore the hidden structures beneath have been met with inexplicable administrative obstacles. Specifically, in the 1990s, a joint German-Lebanese archaeological team attempted to excavate deeper beneath the foundation, but their work was abruptly halted when permits were revoked without any clear explanation. The deepest chambers, rumored to contain more colossal stones or even passages to mysterious subterranean levels, remain sealed off. Official government reports claim the area is geologically unstable, though to date, no independent geological survey has been published to verify that assertion. In 2014, a delegation from the German Archaeological Institute announced a stunning discovery. Another stone, located nearby, even surpassed the famous Stone of the Pregnant Woman in size. This colossal stone remains in its original position, partially buried underground. However, beyond the initial announcement, no large-scale initiatives have been launched to excavate or further study it. Yet, the core issue isn't merely technical, it's also a tale of forgotten memory. Astonishingly, there are no historical records whatsoever of the architects who created the Baalbek Foundation. No names, no blueprints, not even a legend speaks of them. A structure of such immense grandeur, which would have required hundreds of skilled laborers, years of arduous work, and colossal national resources, has completely vanished from all historical accounts. If Baalbek's mysterious foundation isn't Roman work, then who were its true architects? And what if the true purpose of this structure wasn't for worship? What kind of power or knowledge demanded such an incredibly robust foundation, akin to the underground cities of Derinkuyu? In 1963, in Turkey's Nevşehir province, a man was renovating his home's basement. Suddenly, his sledgehammer broke through a wall, revealing a secret tunnel hidden deep within. The newly discovered passage didn't lead to a forgotten storage room or an old wine cellar, but rather opened into an entire vast underground city. A chance discovery unveiled the secrets of Derinkuyu, a massive underground metropolis hidden more than 85 meters beneath the surface, featuring at least 18 levels, over 600 entrances, and the capacity to house more than 20,000 inhabitants. Yet, a perplexing question lingers: who created this marvel, and for what purpose? This subterranean city was fully equipped with living quarters, food storage, ventilation shafts, wine presses, stables, and even a school. Enormous circular stone doors, each weighing hundreds of tons, could be rolled into place to completely seal off corridors. An incredibly sophisticated ventilation system ensured fresh air circulated even to the deepest levels, while wells were dug deep to access fresh water, allowing inhabitants to avoid surface contact. Every aspect of Derinkuyu demonstrates that it was not a makeshift shelter, but a meticulously planned, long-term living environment designed for survival. Astonishingly, there are no historical records from the Ottoman, Byzantine, or even early Christian eras that detail the construction of Derinkuyu. According to local folklore, the underground cities of Cappadocia are believed to be the work of supernatural beings or giants from ancient times. The earliest mention of underground shelters in the region comes from the Greek historian Xenophon in his works from the 4th century BCE. He only vaguely referred to inhabitants living underground in Anatolia, but this was centuries after these structures might have been created. Archaeologists once speculated that Derinkuyu was built around 1500 BCE during the Hittite Empire to evade invasions. However, the scale and complexity of this tunnel system far exceed any other structures from that period. In fact, some areas of the city appear to predate even Hittite construction techniques. Furthermore, the removal and transportation of millions of tons of volcanic tuff, a light yet dense rock, would have required thousands of workers, an advanced construction plan, and years of arduous labor. Yet, strangely, not a single inscription, tool, or image of the people who built this structure has ever been found. While there are indications that the site may have been reused and expanded over various periods, its core structure appears to have been completed in a single, massive undertaking, a feat of organization that no regional culture of that era can explain. Even more astonishing is that Derinkuyu appears not to be unique. Satellite scans and reports from local residents have revealed hundreds of similar underground structures scattered beneath Cappadocia, many of which remain intact or have never been explored. However, research into Derinkuyi's deeper levels has been significantly restricted in recent years. Turkish authorities cite structural safety and heritage preservation as reasons. However, some archaeologists claim they were denied access after proposing to excavate beyond the 18th level. Notably, high-resolution mapping projects have also been abruptly halted without any public explanation. Mysterious underground passages, hidden deep beneath the earth. Once believed to connect to other cities like Kaymakla, they are now bricked up or completely sealed off. What compelled ancient people to undertake such an extraordinary feat, carving an entire city deep beneath the earth? Many theories have been proposed, from protection against devastating wars to a safe haven from volcanic ash or the biting cold of the Ice Age. However, one theory stands out. Derinkuyu was not a refuge from nature or man, but from an unseen, shapeless threat. The absence of any outward-facing defensive structures further reinforces the idea that the true threat came from above, from the sky. Locals still whisper chilling tales of mysterious entities descending from the heavens, forcing inhabitants to seek refuge deep underground. If this sounds far-fetched, consider this. Civilizations are typically known for building structures skyward, honoring deities. So what does it mean when a people choose to build downward, delving deep into darkness, only to vanish without a trace? The enigmatic disappearance of the Olmec civilization amidst the dense jungles of southern Mexico. In the 19th century, archaeologists stumbled upon a discovery that simply didn't belong. Colossal stone heads, each over 2 meters tall and weighing up to 40 tons, carved with uncanny precision and unmistakable human features. These monolithic sculptures were utterly distinct, unlike anything ever found in Mesoamerican archaeology. They were not Mayan or Aztec, they belonged to a long-forgotten people, the Olmec, an ancient civilization so mysterious that their origins remain an absolute enigma, and perhaps more unsettling, so does their disappearance. Flourishing from 1500 to 400 BCE, the Olmec are celebrated as the mother culture of all Mesoamerica. They are credited with pioneering the earliest development of writing systems, calendars, and even the concept of zero in the region. Their art, religion, and urban planning, later adopted by the Maya and other civilizations, reveal astonishing sophistication, utterly contradicting their absence from local oral histories. Despite their profound influence, the Olmec are almost never mentioned in the myths or traditions of their successor cultures. It's as if they were completely erased, not just from the land, but from humanity's memory. At sites like San Lorenzo and La Venta, entire urban complexes have been unearthed, lying deep beneath dense layers of jungle, revealing pyramids, ceremonial platforms, intricate aqueducts, and drainage systems. What's strange is that unlike brilliant civilizations such as the Maya or Inca, the Olmec left no records revealing their identity or the reason for their mysterious disappearance. Their writing system remains an undeciphered enigma, and the language they spoke is completely unknown. Even their ethnic origins are a subject of continuous debate among scholars. The colossal stone head statues, with their unique helmeted designs and distinctive broad faces, have sparked countless bold theories, linking them to African or Asian origins, and even speculations about extraterrestrial intervention. However, the greatest mystery lies in how they abruptly vanished from the annals of history. Around 400 BCE, the bustling Olmec cities were deliberately and systematically abandoned. There were no traces of devastating wars, rampant epidemics, or a terrifying climate catastrophe. Some architectural structures were intentionally destroyed, while others were carefully buried in a mysterious ritual. At some sites, precious offerings like jade, obsidian, and shell jewelry were solemnly placed atop destroyed temples, creating the impression that the civilization itself willingly chose to disappear, or was forced by some power to erase all traces of its existence. However, efforts to delve deeper into Olmec research have frequently encountered a puzzling, subtle resistance. For instance, in the 1980s, a group of Mexican researchers hypothesized that advanced metallurgical techniques found in individual Olmec artifacts could be evidence of contact with other continents. Yet their groundbreaking research was suppressed, denied publication in leading scientific journals. Museum exhibitions on Olmec achievements are also remarkably rare, and when they do occur, they are often presented merely as precursor cultures to more mainstream civilizations like the Maya. Even more remarkably, in 2002, a colossal stone slab believed to contain a detailed Olmec calendar was mysteriously damaged in storage before scientists had a chance to decipher it. Even the name Olmec was not their self-designation. It was a nickname given by the Aztecs centuries later, meaning people from the rubber land. We have no idea what name they used to call themselves. We remain in the dark about the purpose behind the magnificent structures they built, and it's even more perplexing that they vanished without leaving any direct legacy within the very cultures they profoundly influenced. This pervasive silence is truly unsettling, especially for a civilization that once possessed such a solid foundation, sophisticated achievements, and vast geographical influence. Their complete disappearance seems inexplicable, unless it was a deliberate act of erasure. If the Olmec were indeed the first great civilization of the Americas, then what power was strong enough to thoroughly erase them from the course of history and the memory of humankind? Could there be a deeper reason why the memory of the Anunnaki's enigmatic cities has been lost to time? In 1849, British archaeologist Austen Henry Layard began to unravel the mysteries of the ancient city of Nineveh, located in modern-day Iraq, through his excavations. Among the countless artifacts unearthed, a colossal treasure trove of over 20,000 cuneiform clay tablets came to light. Remarkably, many of these tablets revealed fascinating details about the Anunnaki, a group of enigmatic beings whom ancient Sumerian texts described as visitors from the heavens. These entities were not portrayed as traditional deities. Rather, they were documented as rulers, brilliant engineers, impartial judges, and even skilled miners. Legend has it, they descended to Earth, established their authority in various cities, and imparted knowledge to humanity, only to mysteriously vanish without a trace. The cities they once governed, Eridu, Nippur, and Uruk, are considered some of the earliest urban centers on the planet, with origins dating back to 4000 BCE or even earlier. What makes these sites truly astonishing is not just their ancient age, but also the remarkably advanced technology they possessed. Ancient Sumerian clay tablets meticulously documented complex irrigation networks, including drainage systems, dikes, and canals. These were designed with such sophistication that even contemporary hydrologists are astounded by their remarkable efficiency. Astronomical charts discovered in this region also reveal an astonishing understanding of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, planets invisible to the naked eye and only discovered in modern times with the aid of telescopes. And then there are the ziggurats, colossal step pyramid structures, precisely oriented according to astronomical coordinates and built from countless mud bricks. At their summits were temples, believed to house communication chambers between Earth and the heavens. The most enigmatic inscriptions also recount spaceships used by the Anunnaki to travel between realms, alongside the appearance of black-headed people, possibly humans, who were either created or guided to serve their purposes. However, mainstream historians have long dismissed these narratives, viewing them as mere religious metaphors, and emphasizing that mythology should not be confused with actual history. Yet some details defy conventional explanations, such as the ancient Sumerian king list. This text, found in multiple copies across various cities, listed kings who reigned for thousands, even tens of thousands of years, before a catastrophic great flood reshaped the world. Curiously, the list then transitions to historically recognized kings, almost seamlessly. Why would ancient scribes interweave verifiable kings into such an impossibly long chronology of dynasties? However, serious efforts to delve deeper into these matters appear to have been quietly obstructed. Notably, in 2003, amidst the US-led Iraq War, the National Museum in Baghdad, home to a significant collection of the discovered Sumerian clay tablets, was brazenly looted. And among those lost artifacts were some of the most controversial cuneiform tablets, which offered detailed insights into the Anunnaki. While some parts have been found, crucial pieces are still missing. Many believe these hidden parts could hold clear evidence of interaction with extraterrestrial civilizations, or advanced technologies lost to the sands of time. Satellite images of ancient Sumerian city sites have revealed mysterious underground chambers and strange circular pits, suggesting a network of tunnels, crypts, or subterranean structures yet to be excavated. Unfortunately, many of these sites remain sealed off and inaccessible due to unstable geopolitical situations or perplexing administrative barriers. Even deeper scanning projects beneath the city of Eridu were abruptly suspended in 2015, despite ample funding and significant initial interest. So, What has caused such strong opposition to exploring the origins of humanity's first cities? Why are the Anunnaki, described not only in Sumer but also appearing in Babylonian, Assyrian, and Akkadian records, consistently labeled as mythical, while other ancient figures? If the Anunnaki truly existed, their disappearance might not have been a death, but rather a migration, a deliberate departure. And if they were never truly gods, but rather another entity, something humanity once had the capacity to recognize, then perhaps what we call mythology is merely fragmented remnants of ancient memories. And if those precious memories have been erased or deliberately buried, then the big question remains: who benefits from our forgetfulness? In summary, from arid deserts to the deepest ocean floors to forgotten layers of Earth, these 10 civilizations offer more than just mysteries. They are a mirror reflecting every crumbling ruin, every submerged street, and every intricately carved stone pillar stands as a testament to what humanity once achieved and the immense potential we might have overlooked. Not primitive or linearly developed, but extraordinarily brilliant in ways we are only just beginning to uncover and comprehend. From the enigmatic ruins of Tartaria, the submerged city beneath Lake Fuxian, to the astonishing precision of Göbekli Tepe and the magnificent architectural wonders of Baalbek. These are not merely strange phenomena. They are epic chapters of extraordinary human ingenuity, etched in stone, water, and eternal silence. They tell of civilizations that mastered astronomy, understood the principles of resonance and material science, civilizations that constructed works not over decades, but spanning millennia. Beyond lost knowledge, these civilizations also represent forgotten perspectives, different ways of organizing life, perceiving time, and defining the meaning of existence. They remind us that the modern narrative of progress is not the only path humanity has traversed, that other, equally profound paths once existed, where mythology intertwined with engineering, spirit connected with structure, and geometry interwoven with ritual. Paths we have almost forgotten. The true tragedy lies not in the disappearance of these cultures, but in the fact that their profound insights have yet to be absorbed and integrated into how humanity defines itself today. Imagine, are the ruins we see today the genesis, the spark for a revolution of renewal, a sustainable civilization, or a deeper communion with the natural world? Yet, instead of being understood, they remain isolated, labeled, and misinterpreted. Nevertheless, their presence endures. Ancient cities stand resolute, mysteries ceaselessly challenge human intellect, and their questions resonate endlessly in our minds. These relics don't demand worship or dogmatic assertions. Instead, they beckon curiosity, humility, and the courage to admit that we haven't yet uncovered the full narrative of human origins. For if humanity once crafted such wonders in the past with absolute precision, timeless vision, and extraordinary audacity, then the past is not merely behind us. Indeed, it stands directly before us, beckoning us to rediscover forgotten knowledge and propel it further into the future. The relics do not lament, they simply wait in silence.